necessary for me to do that, since you've obviously already invested in this course, so you're going to have to listen to me anyway. But bear with me for a moment, because I think there's some important things to be said. Look around yourselves right now and think about the impact of science and technology on the modern world. Right now you're listening to my voice and perhaps seeing my image through a technology that's commonplace. You use it every day. But 60 years ago was completely unknown. Science and technology allows us on a daily basis to zoom around the surface of our planet at breakneck speeds, even to fly through the air to its furthest corners. Scientific information now beams down invisibly and silently to us from the depths of space, from machines that we've built and launched into voyages to distant planets. Nowadays, we know about all kinds of things, or maybe we flatter ourselves into thinking that we know about all kinds of things, such as the birth and the death of stars, to the invisible submicroscopic rearrangements of the molecules going on within our bodies at every moment. We look to science with varying degrees of confidence to solve our problems. Around the globe, right at this moment, tens or hundreds of thousands of scientists are busily engaged in a wide variety of projects, expending millions of hours, billions of dollars, while thousands of students are eagerly training to join their ranks. At every moment, science and technology impacts on our lives in so many levels. We literally cannot escape it any longer. And that itself is a remarkable, but indeed a bit of a frightening thought as well. Well, I don't need to go any further in this way. What I would urge you to do is maybe spend the rest of today making a mental note of every time your life depends upon science and technology. And you can be surprised at how much science and technology directs things. In fact, I think it's no exaggeration to say that science and technology are very high on a very short list of the most important factors influencing, even directing our lives as individuals and as a culture. Well, if this is so, doesn't it seem essential to understand the background to our current scientifically based society? How and why did things turn out this way? Were there other options? How were things different or the same in earlier time periods in different civilizations? How, when, and by whom were scientific discoveries made? And more importantly, why were they made? What are the ways in which science and society have interacted? Well, it's questions like these that undergird the entire enterprise of the history of science. Now, the history of science is actually a fairly young discipline. Its professionalization dates only from the 20th century, and the founders of the discipline, seeing how important science and technology was to the development of human culture, realized that traditional history, which traditionally focuses on economic, political, military, social factors, might in fact be missing a very important dimension, an explanatory principle to account for the historical development of culture. So we come now to a beguilingly simple question, as many simple questions are. What is science? If we're going to study for the next 18 hours something called the history of science, perhaps it would be a good idea to have more or less of an idea what science actually is. Now, I think if I were to ask people, you would all have more or less of an idea of what science is, some sort of a definition. But the definitions that we give to something like that are automatically determined by our own experiences. And of course, anything that is close to us, whether that's physically or temporally, always looms the largest. Therefore, our definition of science is going to be a definition of modern science. The definitions we give will be drawn from features familiar to us in current-day science. We might point to the use of mathematical models or mathematical tools, to a more or less well-defined scientific method, or something having to do with precision or methods of proof or certainty. But you see, here's where the problem arises. Those features may not in fact be essential to science. Science as we know it might have turned out